someone who has invested over the past 10 years but unemployed yet able to take on a career break, these are the habits that I've taken on to give me some financial freedom. And if you are here today because you're unsure of what you've got, or that you have no investments, or maybe you just don't know where to start, then this video is for you. A recent Royal Bank of Canada report revealed that over 40% of Canadians are worried that one emergency expense might derail all of their finances. And 50% of Canadians regret not starting an emergency fund sooner. And on top of that, Canadians owe about $22,000 worth of debt that is not mortgage related. Today, I'm going to hit the financial reset button for you, and we're going to go over the 4 non-negotiable basics to understand. So the very first step, even before you do anything, is to do a financial audit. Seeing exactly how much money you have, how much money you owe, before you even start to think about investing your money. I know a lot of us are avoiding the idea of looking through our finances because we don't know what we're going to find. But I see it as seeing what the situation is like and then being able to figure out what your next steps are to tackle or maybe to improve the situation. So to do a quick financial audit, these are the things that you need. All you need to do is to log into your bank account and download the credit card statements and the bank statements for the past 3 months. So once you have that, it's time to figure out the numbers. The first number you need is the total income. That is the amount of money that you've made in the past 3 months. And the next number you need is your expense. So we're going to create 2 buckets. One bucket is for the essentials, things like mortgage or maybe your rent, your utilities, things that you really need in order to stay alive. And the second bucket is your lifestyle bucket, which are things like perhaps a Netflix subscription or maybe eating out. Those would be considered as your lifestyle expenses. Once you have your essentials and your lifestyle expenses / wants, you're going to add them together, and that will be your total expense for the past 3 months. So now that you have both numbers ready, it's time to subtract one from the other. So you're going to take your total income and minus your total expense. If that number is positive, it means that you are making more than you are spending. That means you have money left over to start investing and to save. But if that number is negative, that you are spending way too much for how much you're making. So either you need to figure out a way to make more money or reduce your spend. So the next step is to build your emergency fund. So whether that number that you've gotten from step 1 is positive or negative, I think it's still good information to know for the next step, because this is somewhere that you want to start aiming towards or to start building. So emergency fund is essentially money that is untouched, where you can have access to it at any time in case something dire happens and you need the money. And what is recommended is to put this money into a separate account altogether. So this money is not going to sit in your checkings account where you're going to be spending money, where your credit card bills are going to come out of. It's going to be a completely separate savings account that is not going to be touched unless you need it. So you might be thinking, why don't I just speed run this? I'm just going to put $10,000 into a stock and hope for the best, and that will get me my emergency fund, right? Isn't that just as simple as that? Well, you could do that, but I would say that is a very, very risky move because you don't know when you're going to need that emergency fund. And as you all know, the stock market can go up and it can go down. So if and when you need to withdraw money from your emergency fund and the stock market happens to go down, you actually might be losing money by withdrawing from that account. And remember what I said earlier? 50% of the people regret not having an emergency fund. So it is time to lock in and get that going. So when I got laid off back in June 2026, I built my own calculator, basically taking a look at how much money I have, what my investments are, what my expenses are, and project how many years I could technically last without getting a job yet. The idea is not to retire, but to see how far I can last with what I've got invested and what I've got saved. And this thing here was really helpful because it gave me the peace of mind that is priceless. The magic number for this emergency fund, I would say, would be a minimum of 6 to 9 months of your expenses, okay? And these are just your essential expenses, not your lifestyle wants, travels, and all of that. Those are not happening and not part of the calculation. A lot of articles say 3 to 6 months, But I do think in this economy now, I like to be way more conservative because I've seen so many people in my network who have lost their jobs and has taken them up to 1 year to find a job. So my rule of thumb is if your job is very easy to find and that it is not super competitive, at least have 6 months worth of your expenses covered. However, if you are in a field where you feel like it's highly replaceable, super high competition, then perhaps go for at least 9 months worth of expenses covered. So once you have that amount, it's time to put it into something. But we're not going to put it into a checkings account because checkings account don't give us any return, meaning we're not earning any money from the bank by just letting it sit there. So what we want to do is put that money into a high yield savings account. Every bank should have this product and it's usually free to sign up as well. A high yield savings account, the return may vary, but I would say typically is around 2% or so. So let's say you're going to set aside $100 per month and you're going to put it towards your emergency fund, which is fabulous. And then you do that every single month for the next 5 years. You're going to have deposited $6,000. But because this account gives a 2% interest rate, that means that you are making $312 from just having your money sit there. But so at the end of the 5 years, you don't just have $6,000, you now have $6,312 ready for you in case of any type of emergency that does come up. Not too bad, right? For doing nothing. One of the most common questions is whether I should invest my money or if I should pay off my debt. So historically, if you invest in any type of index fund, it would give you about an 8 to 10% return. However, if you have a credit card that is charging you 22%, then investing is not such a great idea. The general rule of thumb is that if your rate of return for your investment is greater than, not greater than or equal, but greater than the interest rate on your debt, then go with the investment option. However, if the rate of return for investment is less than interest that you're paying for your debt, then pay off the debt first. If you have $10,000 worth of credit card debt, you're going to pay off the $10,000 credit card debt first and not take that money and put it into the investment, because generally the market only gives you a 10% back, which is not enough to pay off your debt. Next step is to understand your financial goals, when you need the money, before you figure out where to invest your money. A lot of people just throw their money into the stock market and just hope for the best. Hopefully things will go up by the time I need it and call it a day. But that is a little bit risky. So what we need to do is figure out what is your goal for the money. So basically you have 3 buckets. A short-term goal would be like building up your emergency fund or building up your down payment fund for your new home. A medium-term goal might be that you want to plan a career change and you need some money set aside for that. A long-term goal might be for retirement or maybe financial freedom to not ever work again. And based on what those goals are, you can of course chat with your financial planner to see which product is the best one, or depending on what your goal might be. If you made it this far, it's time to press the button down below and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one for more personal finance tips, travel card hacks, and all of that great stuff to maximize your wealth and make money work for you. See ya. Bye.